Hi, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to BFA's On The Ball. You caught me out there. I was having a look down at my sheets. Okay, guys, we're back for the second segment. And like I said, we want to talk about youth football. And we've got some special guests all the way down from Milton Keynes. There's also a local boy from Docklands. So we can talk more to the guys and let's find out their thoughts on youth football in particular. So on my left, let me introduce Steve Kirby from Milton Keynes Dons. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, good, thanks. You?
Thanks for coming. Very good, thank you. Thanks for coming on the show. And we also got Ronaldo from Pitts Football. How you doing? You okay?
Yeah, I'm great.
Good. Okay, Steve, I'm going to start with yourself. You're the lead youth development coach for Milton Keynes Dons.
Yeah, that's correct.
Tell us what that means and what that entails.
That role is a leading delivery role as well as an overseeing role. So I directly take the under-15s and the under-16s age groups at the academy at MK Dons, and then the other part of my role is to oversee the players, coaches, and parents as well for the 13s and 14s age groups as well. So it's kind of an overseeing and a delivery role.
Okay. All right, Arash, you're obviously you've been on the show before. You're currently managing the under-13s.
That's correct.
You're involved in a part-time basis now. Since the last time you were on the show, how have MK moved on in terms of where you were from when the last time you were on here?
Well, in terms of obviously we have a program that we need to deliver, kind of set by Steve. And in that program we're looking at different types of topics, things like pressing, dropping. There's a defensive topic, or it could be attacking, where converting chances, working through the flanks. And so one of our roles is to ensure that the delivery that we do with the coaching, the lads are progressing, both individually and as well as a team as well. Our key focus is individual because in the academy and as a club we're looking to produce professionals. Statistically we're not going to produce a team, so it's going to be individual, so our focus is on that. From the last time I was on the show, I can't remember when it was about 4 or 5 months ago. Definitely the board lads have come on. The last time we played you actually, there's been massive improvements in terms of
you were pretty good then, to be honest.
Well, in terms of one of the things that we're looking at is their game understanding now, because they can manipulate a ball, they can do all the technical stuff, but now we're looking at the game understanding and the tactical elements. And we're starting to see the fruition of that work in the games that we're playing recently.
Okay. Steve, in terms of yourself, obviously it's quite an important role that you play within the club. How much involvement do you have with all the coaching staff? From what age group do you start from? You said 8s all the way through to 16th.
Yeah, well, we start with our pre-academy age group, which is under 7s, under 8s, and then that goes then through to our under 16s, then on to our under 18s, which is our youth team, and then there is a little bridge with regards to an under 21s side. That's not a full-time program, but it's an ad hoc under 21s program to help those guys bridge the gap who maybe aren't ready at under 18s to go into the first team then. So in terms of on a day-to-day basis, like my role for the under 13s to under 16s, there's somebody who does the foundation lead, which oversees the under 7s up to the under 12s. Okay. And then our head of youth, our director of youth, then takes what's called the professional development phase at 17s to 21s.
And is there continuity from the foundation all the way up to the first team?
Yeah, pretty much. But the philosophy runs through our academy. It's one of probably the best strengths of our academy, and one of the best tools that we use to develop the players that we've produced is that our philosophy runs right throughout. So we take immense pride in players that have come through from a very young age of 8s, 9s, 10s on our long-term journey, and that's the key thing, that it's a long-term journey through our academy for a number of years to then progress into our first team. Okay.
Now, in terms of, again, you just touched on player development and MK Dons. Your philosophy, your mantra. What is it? What is that about? And what types of players are you looking for?
Our philosophy is to play a possession-based game that's out from the back through the thirds. Players play with creativity, freedom to explore across the age groups, even within and up to our youth team. So not just something that's specific for the younger players, but within an environment that's fear-free, so they don't have to worry about making mistakes and being ridiculed or shouted at or things like that. So what we then, by doing that, we think it allows us to create players who come through who are good decision makers of their own accord. They're not people who rely on us as coaches, so that when they're given different scenarios through the games, and then when they're hopefully in the first team, they've got lots of strings to their bow as such, and react to different situations and cope in a stressful environment that is first team football.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, like I said, we'll come back to talk about youth football in particular in a short while. But we've also got Ronaldo here from Pitts Football. Ronaldo, thanks for coming on the show.
No problem.
You are, I guess, the other end of what we're trying to talk about here. You tell us a bit about what Pitts do.
So what Pitts is we're an elite performance centre, and we focus on football. And what I will say to you now is I can relate it back to it being more like a bicycle. I would say, like, so I can relate it more to you. So having a bicycle and riding it, you will keep on riding, and if you will fall off, you'll try and get back on, and you'll keep on trying. And we can relate this back to football and saying, in football, you always get knocked down, but you'll end up trying again. And in my own experience, I kept on trying, and at 16, I got a huge call to say I'd been accepted into AFC Wimbledon, and that was my own club. And I was there for a number of years, and I was doing well in football, and I thought everything was going great. And at 19, it was a huge call to say I'd been released. And I realised that my situation was the same with a lot of other boys. And it is a realisation that there's, as individuals, only a few can step up to be in first team. So there was a feeling of everyone being kind of hung out to dry. And I thought with my team that we will create an outlet where players can continuously train, and without being disillusioned with like leagues or cup runs or wins, it's more solely on player development. And from there we can utilise things such as UEFA coaching and strength and conditioning training, having physios on site, and sports psychology, try to emulate football academies so these boys can keep on ticking over, and we can get them back into either the footballing league or having some professional football. Okay, so these are kids that have been released from, so the age category we're talking about is 16 plus? Or? We deal with 13 to 21 at the moment. Okay. And it's not just for professionals that have been released, it's also for semi-professionals who have a part-time footballing background at the moment, and they want to kind of get a full-time footballing environment, so we kind of cater around them. And also looking into communities, we have boys who are looking at the Wayne Rooney's and the Cristiano Ronaldo's and saying, I want to play exactly like that. And if they go out to maybe a pitch and they see a rusty goalpost and they have no direction, maybe that's not something they thought it would be like. So to have Pitts there, to have an environment what is very professional, gives them that environment to learn in. And then the transition from grassroots to professional is not that big, because the player at a professional club will say, it's just like Pitts Football. And that's exactly what we need. Okay, so Pitts Football, how big is your organisation in terms of numbers? How big it is at the moment is that we have 4 founders at the moment. We have 3 coaches, very good quality coaches. They've had backgrounds in various professional football clubs. And we also have a sports psychologist and a sports physio on site as well. So they're all part of the team? So yeah, they're all part of the Pitts team at the moment. Okay, all right. So let's, again, we've been fortunate enough to have a clip from Pitts Football. It's a very short one, so again, it gives you an idea of what they're about. Let's take a couple of minutes to watch this, and when we come back, we'll talk a bit more to the guys from MK Dons, and also we'll continue our conversation with Ronaldo as well. So enjoy the 2-minute clip.
I started when I was about 4 or 5. I was only playing local stuff, and then in one of my local teams I got picked up to Cheltenham, and I went to Cheltenham Academy, but I went to the year above, and I played there for a few years, but then I got released.
Everyone doubting you, like saying like it's not going to happen. Obviously look how much people that want to be professional footballers, you go through so many ups and downs, loads more downs than ups, and you need to learn how to deal with it.
So in terms of player development, the best way to train is to train in a professional environment, and to train like the professionals do. It's the only way you're going to get better. Yeah.
in at kind of grassroots level, you only get grassroots coaching, whereas where you've got this professional setup, you've got video analysts, you've got top coaches, you've got physios, you've got all of that, and it's not even a pro academy, so that is just a head start straight away. So once you go into that pro environment, you're already set up, you're good to go.
Expecting the best from the players and trying to extract the best they have in them, and that will be always our objective.
I want boys to get in the pro clubs, get all players as high as they can.
So work hard, do as much extras as you can. You might be called busy or anything, but at the end of the day, when you've progressed and they haven't, they want to be you, so do as much as you can.
Passion, hard work, and excellence.
Professional, engaging, and fun.
Professional and comfortable as well. Makes you feel comfortable.
Fun, energetic, creative.
Regardless of their ability, they always work to be better every day, and we've seen that the first time we did it, and now I think that spirit is in our philosophy. Always work to be better, since the first day to the last day. Develop as a player, and when you leave pits, you're better than when you came on.
Right, welcome back, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Steve, I want to come to you. You've listened to what Ronaldo's had to say and his aspirations for young footballers that don't quite make it in professional football. They're giving them an opportunity to try to re-enter that football arena. What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's really important, and I'm of the mantra that the more people that do this type of thing with good quality, then the better, because we do get to a point where the environment that we're in as an academy is a tough environment, and at times we have to make decisions that we honestly don't like to make, but it may be due to boys that we've already got in the system, types of players that got to fit certain positions, possibly how we see them progressing, and we have to be honest with them. If we think that's not the case, we feel it's best to be honest with them. Mm-hmm. But for some boys, when that time comes, that's not right for them, and that might be at 16, it might well be at 18. But traditionally in England, we've seen that if you're not ready by 18, that's kind of it.
Yeah.
But in terms of human nature, I think if we looked at our own experiences in life, if we were put in the same scenario at 18 and then put in the same scenario again at 21 or 24, we'd probably make a much more decision.
Yeah.
So it's important that for those boys who maybe aren't ready at 16 and 18, they might be ready at 19 or they might be ready at 20. So rather than completely fall out of it, if they can stay just in touch with it and get back into it roots with, like I said, the key is with quality, because there are lots that maybe don't do it with such quality. But if they can do that, then great, and the more the better to bridge that stopgap and help as many boys play as high as they can. Okay.
Ronaldo, just for those people that are watching now and thinking, oh, hang on, you mentioned semi-pro footballers or even those that are aspiring to be semi-pro or better. The idea is to better yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Where are you guys based and where do your programs run and how often do they run?
We're based at Canada Water, Bacon's College, and right now we're running sporadically throughout the year, so that's through every half term at the moment, and that's just to grow our brand and make more players aware of us at the moment, and that's through social media, through word of mouth, and we're just kind of setting our ground and setting our mark there at the moment. Okay,
and your next, you've got another program starting in April. What dates is that?
So that'll be the 7th to the 10th of April.
Okay.
And we'll be launching then. We're expecting a lot of great players coming back again, and we welcome many more.
And in terms of future plans, is this going to be again, you've already touched on it, would it be something that is going to be over a longer span rather than just having it for a short period of time?
Yeah, definitely. In our future plans, we'll definitely look to move forward and look to run full time, and that will be weekly. But right now we're at a stage where we can work through half terms, and with the support from all the players, it can only come quicker that we do get to that stage.
Okay, but again, devil's advocate.
Yeah.
This program is from the 7th till the 10th. That's 3 days.
Yeah.
How much of an impact are you actually having on them for that period of time?
In regards to impact, it is huge. The players, what do go to the performance centre, they have an experience unlike any other, especially when going through maybe a semi-professional or grassroots training regime. They may be training once a week, or maybe training, and in that once a week it's an hour. But what we do is we emulate football academies, so we're now running for the whole day in that day. So that'll be from 10 till 4, and through that they'll have lunch breaks and they'll have prehab and rehab, and they'll have things such as strength and conditioning and football work. And through these 3 days, it gives them a wider experience of what they should expect from themselves. And then what we do is we try to push them towards the summer, where you run a lot longer, and that'll be from maybe end of July to throughout August, and that's what we kind of gear them up towards, because we keep the footage and we keep the data of these players.
Okay.
So we expect them not to just go to Pits football and then go straight out of football.
Yeah, that's my.
They should be in Pits football, and then while they're out of it, they should be playing regularly. And then when they come back, they should have with the practices we've given them, they should become better with the data what we collect again.
Interesting. Arash, what's your take on that?
I think just to echo what Steve said, it's fantastic that we got organisation like Pits, because, like you said earlier, it's giving them a second chance. You know, you have lads who are probably not quite ready at certain ages for whatever reason, and the opportunity to step into another environment which may be less pressured, because obviously in an academy environment there can be some pressures around, releases and things like that. But in this situation, they're not, so they can just relax and play, and that helps them develop better. Because they might start enjoying it again, so on and so forth. So I think, as Steve said, more organisations like that will help our football pyramid, if you like, and maybe get them back into football again at another pro club.
Okay, we've got our first call of the evening. Let's see who we have on the line. Okay, Snark, and welcome to BFA's On The Ball show. Who do we have on the line? Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, who have we got on the line? What's your question, sir?
Hi, my name's Brooke. I'm from Peckham, and I wanted to ask Pits, where can I find out more about what you do, and when is your next session?
Yeah, definitely, to answer that, you can find us on social media platforms. So that'll be at Pits Football, so PITS Football. You'll find us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and you can subscribe to us on YouTube as well. Our next launch is, like we mentioned earlier, it's the 7th to the 10th of April, and hopefully we could see you down there.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, hope that answers your question. Thank you for the call. Right, Steve, we'll come back to you. Youth development, obviously, that's your baby. It's a hot topic with the FA. Tell us a bit more. Well, I'm sure you've had some input, but with regards to the, I think it was a couple of years ago when Gareth Southgate got involved with the under-21s, they were talking about the England launching a change in the way they were moving with regards to a DNA plan.
Yeah.
How does that fit in with pro clubs like yourself, and how much involvement input do you have with these kind of things?
I think we've all, as English clubs, I think we've all got a moral obligation to and a desire to want to produce homegrown internationals. I think that's got to be one of the main reasons why we're in it as clubs. We've produced a number ourselves at MK Dons, and it's a proud moment to be able to do that. So I think what we've got to try and do is, what's different from our country to maybe other countries on the continent is everything's geared towards the national team, but more so in England it's more geared to the club first as opposed to the national team with regards to the development of youth. I think the FA are doing some great work with regards to their courses, the structure of their courses, getting the ideas around their DNA out to coaches and the public in general, so that we can kind of start sharing similar ideals in terms of what the modern day player should look like, because football quickly moves on. So what
is the modern day footballer? What is there a modern day in terms of, from the FA going back to the DNA? What they're looking for?
I think the biggest thing is versatility for the modern day footballer. Previously in prior generations, we've always had types of players. because of the speed and the tactical element of games now, and the margins for error in the professional game being so small at times, I think versatility and universality is the key. Players who can switch positions during the game, during a move, who can fill in as a squad and play different positions for certain types of games. I think now we go into more detail with it. That's probably the most important aspect of the modern day player. So those players who can interchange positions while the game's going on, or can offer different things for the squad and for the team, are going to be more sought after.
Okay. Arash, with regards to your own experience, obviously you're involved in the pyramid and you're looking after under 13s at a professional club. Has there been a shift over the last few years to where the FA was and where football in general in the UK was?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're starting to see, with the FA and the Premier League launching the EPPP program. This is the Elite Player Performance Program, which is mandated to all the academies throughout the UK. So that's looking at how we develop players in an elite environment, and the DNA, as you spoke about. What is the DNA? And one of the things that we're focusing on now, and we actually at the MK Dons, we've done that for quite a number of years, is a player and his technical abilities, so being comfortable in possession. And the way we do that is develop them in practices where it's in tight areas, so they can develop the technical ability. Because if you look at football, the biggest thing is being comfortable in possession. Can you deal with a situation where, like this space here that we've got here, if it's a 2v1, can I as an individual, like if you look at the Messis, the Ronaldos, those type of players, they're the ones that we look at. So in terms of the shift, definitely there has been a shift, because as Steve stated before, there was rigid right backs, rigid left backs. We had a 4-4-2 formation, if you like, where you had what they call a destroyer, so like the Roy Keanes, and then you had the creative player like maybe the Zidans or players like that. But now, if you look at the situation, we've got different types of players. So you've got the passer, you've got the destroyer, you've got the creative player. But then if you look up top, there's fluidity in interchanging of positions. So Barcelona are a great example of that. And in order to do that, you need to have the ability to play in the different positions. So it's gone from a more of a kind of a rigid to a more rotational and a fluid system.
Interesting. Okay, unfortunately we're out of time for the second segment. Good to chat to these guys about youth development, learning a lot already. So when we come back, we want to talk about, continue our discussions about youth development and what's hampering it and what the plans are moving forward, and more about MK Dons and a bit more about Pits as well. So go and enjoy the break, and when we come back, it's all about youth football. It's not them.